Welcome back to B&B Movie Reviews. You've heard and seen every critic association, YouTuber, film pundit, reviewer, and your next door neighbor's grandmother's top 10 list of 2023. But there are still two lists that you haven't gotten yet. That's right. Our top 10 of the year is coming up next, so stay right there. Welcome to B&B. It's that time of the year, one of the most fun and exciting times for us fans like us to reflect on the last 12 months of movies and rank and discuss the movies that have left an indelible mark on us in this past year. First, we're going to quickly run through our 10 through 5 and then get into the deeper conversation with our top 4 films of the year. I'll kick off my list with my number 10 film, Barbie, the box office hit of the year that subversively tackles issues of identity, autonomy, the male patriarchy, and womanhood.
For my 10 spot, I've picked the Netflix original film May December. Todd Haynes' latest is a tricky tonal gauntlet as Natalie Portman's truth-seeking actor invades the uncomfortably transgressive tabloid romance between Julianne Moore and Charles Melton.
My number 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn ends his trilogy and his tenure at Marvel Studios with a heartfelt story of found family, lost love, grief, and confronting your inner demons.
My number 9 is the thrilling courtroom drama Anatomy of a Fall. After her husband tumbles out their attic window to his death, Sandra Hüller must defend herself against a ravenous public. Did she? Didn't she? Can anyone access the truth? Even those involved? Good luck.
At number 8 is Creed 3. Michael B. Jordan takes the helm behind the camera for his directorial debut, taking the tried and true format of sports films, specifically the Rocky films, to explore a fractured system of foster care that creates broken men who have to learn to use their words as opposed to their fists.
My number 8 is one that was already mentioned, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Despite so much wind being blown around about the death of the MCU this year, James Gunn still delivered a perfectly bittersweet conclusion for his beautiful family of a-holes.
At number 7, I have Alexander Payne's The Holdovers, a new favorite that will be added to the Christmas watch list rotation, a film about 3 characters at a crossroads of pain, grief, and loneliness that find an unlikely connection with each other during the holidays.
For my number 7, hi Barbie. It's an IP cash grab that sneakily bites the hand that feeds it. Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie hilariously and viciously reveal the poisonous effects of systemic misogyny and how it harms all parties. Miraculously, it's a fun time too.
My number 6 is John Wick Chapter 4, a series that started out as an action showcase has found deep pathos for its main character in its 4th installment with some of the most lavish set designs and cinematography I've seen all year.
At number 6, I have The Holdovers. Alexander Payne channels iconic filmmaker Hal Ashby, creating a film ripped out of time as if it were actually made 50 years ago. When people say they don't make them like this anymore, they're talking about The Holdovers.
And my number 5 is American Fiction, a film that deals with the ongoing complex discussion around race and the complicated relationship it develops between the art, the artist, and the consumer.
Finally, my number 5 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese has always been fascinated by the wretched and awful, this time focusing his obsession on Leonardo DiCaprio's grotesque husband who claims love for Lily Gladstone's Molly even as he's slowly killing her.
All right, so those are our 10 through 5. So now let's get into our number 4. So, all right, man.
Drum roll. You got to go first. I just said Killers of the Flower Moon.
All right, so my number 4 of the year is Past Lives. Celine Song, her directorial debut. I thought she had a magnificent directorial debut telling this very sincere story about these two characters that, you know, grew up together, who had a love early in their childhood and tried to rekindle that, but certain things get in their way. But I want to hold off on that because,
you know, because somebody else might be mentioning it later.
That may come up a little bit more.
I love that pick, Bryan. I really, really do.
Okay.
And you'll hear why later.
All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4, I am going to have to go with John Wick Chapter 4.
Okay, it didn't make my top 4, but it was in my list.
Yeah, to me, it is the action film of the year. Yeah. I think the John Wick franchise has delivered some of the most incredible violence on screen that we've seen, and this is its apex. But it doesn't skip on the emotionality either. You know, when you get to the end of John Wick Chapter 4, you still feel the pain that originated with that first film. And that has not always been the case with some of the previous sequels.
Yeah, it feels like when you get to 4, and it's funny too because like Keanu Reeves, he even said that he wanted to take some of his dialogue away. Yeah. So he kind of feels like, you know, like the man with no name, you know, he's kind of like walking the earth, and he feels like that type of character where, you know, he doesn't have a lot of words to say, but you see that pain that he's going through with the loss of his wife and wanting to get that freedom from the high table. A lot of that comes through in the emotionality of his performance.
But he doesn't, you know, preoccupy every frame. You know, like,
no, he doesn't.
He gives a lot in this film to Donnie Yen, for example. And Donnie Yen is incredible in this movie. Yeah. And any longtime fan of Donnie Yen is going to be excited to see him on screen. But I think, just like, you know, Star Wars Rogue One brought a lot of attention to his performance, I think a lot of people are discovering Donnie Yen through John Wick Chapter 4.
And that's one of the most exciting things about John Wick is the fact of how many people will discover or even rediscover Donnie Yen. Because like I said, we grew up with Donnie Yen from Once Upon a Time in China and all the movies that he made back overseas, and to see him really kind of get the recognition that feels like it's been well deserved for a long time. You know, it's
and that's
nice
what the
to
John
see
Wick
that.
films have done, right? They are great gateway films to a lot of other genres as well. I mean, there's a lot of Buster Keaton in John Wick. The staircase sequence in this film, was there a better scene all year? I don't know.
I don't know. And then that overhead shot.
Dragon's breath.
Oh, dude. All right, so those are our number 4 picks. So when we return, we are going to discuss our our number 3 picks of 2023. So stay right there.
I'm not here to fire you up. If you're not already fired up, you shouldn't be in this room. Right now is your chance to be a part of a victory the world will remember forever. Victory over cancer. Today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. A victory that is there for the taking. Grab it.
Now that was a great halftime speech. Let's go win.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
All right, welcome back to the show. So we're going to continue our discussion of our top films of 2023 with our number 3 movies of the year. So, Brad.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to go. Let me go.
All right,
Let me
you got it. You got it, man. What you got?
Because I want to get to this film first.
Okay.
I want to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, you got that in there.
You know, I think this movie could even be higher on my list, honestly. But, you know, maybe I didn't want to, like, share the spot with anybody else on this show. But this movie really does everything that the first film did, just better. You know, it is absolutely a celebration of the sequential form of comic books, not just the characters, but the medium itself. Somehow they could take that experience of reading a comic book and then make it cinematic. And it's really exciting to see them play with the form that way. Also, an incredible voice cast. It's a
stacked cast, and the voice acting is incredible. From the first movie, from Into the Spider-Verse to Across the Spider-Verse, I think sometimes we overlook voice acting, but this cast is incredible. I mean, Oscar Isaac, Haley Steinfeld, Shameik Moore, Jake Johnson. I mean, then you bring in the new characters in. So many characters.
So many characters, and when you're watching that trailer, you're going, well, no way can they achieve what they did in the first film. Like, we're going to get like a Batman and Robin situation. Too many villains, too many characters. No, thank you. But the film maintains its story and its heart and its emotion while being incredibly additive.
And that's the thing I love about it, man, is how focused the movie is, how they expand the universe but the movie stays focused. Like, it never loses focus of the characters, and that's the thing that I love about these movies. And I mean, I cannot wait for the third one.
But you're going to have to wait, and that's the pain of the movie, right? Because it is not a complete film, and maybe that's why I find it at number 3 in my top 10 and not higher.
See,
because it's a great ending.
Yeah.
It's a great cliffhanger. I loved it when I was in the theater. Like, I was just like dying for the next film. But now, it's getting pushed back. It's getting pushed back further.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to maintain the energy that they had from the second film?
I think they will. I mean, the movie has so much goodwill, and I mean, I think that I find it hard to believe that they won't stick the landing for this.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see.
We're going to have to wait and see. So for my number 3, this is the movie that when we did our mid-year report for the movies, this was in my top 5. It hasn't wavered. It's still there. It's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. I can't explain. It almost kind of goes back to King Arthur.
Oh boy. Guy Ritchie love is coming out. Bryan's putting it all there.
It's like I felt like I was on an island by myself with King Arthur.
Because you were. That's why you felt that way.
And I don't know what it is about Guy Ritchie films, but for some reason, I don't see a lot of people talking about The Covenant, and I kind of feel that way this year with The Covenant. That I kind of feel like I'm on an island by myself with the love of this movie. But I don't know, man. Guy Ritchie is just kind of just he hits that sweet spot with me with the movies that he's made over the last couple of years. And specifically with this movie, I think telling a movie about the American military, specifically the relationship between, the military and their interpreters, he brings a different approach to it, maybe because he's not from America. He has a different point of view.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think, I struggled with this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but you watch it in a DC political crowd, you start wondering how certain people are reacting to the film and what the intent is behind this movie. And I got too muddied up with that when I was watching this film. It is very well made, and I do see it showing up on a few people's top 10 lists.
Okay.
You've got a fellow fan in Dave Chen from the Filmcast.
All right, good. I got somebody else to talk to on that island.
I just didn't quite connect. And if we were going to celebrate a Guy Ritchie movie this year, I'd rather be talking about Operation Fortune, Rue de Guerre. But that is an island that I feel like I'm alone on.
No, I hear you on that one. But yeah, I love Dar Salem, who played the interpreter.
Fantastic.
The relationship that he has with Jake Gyllenhaal, it's a very understated performance that I think really kind of pulls you in if you allow yourself to really kind of get engaged with the movie. And I don't know, it just kind of, what I was thinking about? The thing that I love about movies, and we didn't get a chance to talk about John Woo and that Silent Night movie.
It's not relevant to this conversation.
No,
Bryan.
but the point I'm bringing up is like, looking at old John Woo, the thing that I loved about those movies was about that loyalty, the brotherhood, and like the relationship between characters. And it seems like now that kind of trope in movies has kind of evolved, where I'm kind of seeing that in the way other filmmakers are bringing that in. So it's that idea of the brotherhood, the idea of the loyalty, that bond that they have, that they connect.
And playing off of that bond, there is a scene in The Covenant that I do think is rather exceptional, and it's a sequence in which Jake Gyllenhaal is on the phone, and he's having a conversation that many of us have had before. It's so frustrating, just trying to get on the line with a human person who will actually listen to you. That sequence was probably the highlight for me, and it's got good quality in it. I don't dislike the movie.
No,
I'm just a little surprised to see it here.
No, I know. We always have that one outlier on our list. I know yours is coming up.
Yeah. Like, our list is very similar this year. It's like, are we the same person now?
Yeah, I know, right?
Doing this show?
So that is our number 3 of the year. So when we return to the show, we are going to talk about our top 2 with our number 2 picks of 2023. Stay right there.
For all of life's poison risks, there's Poison Help. Poison Help is a free 24/7 hotline.
Hello, Poison Help?
That answers all of your poison questions. At home,
I might have taken too much medication.
at work,
I think I've breathed in chemical fumes.
and on the go.
They ate a mushroom. What do I do?
With expert guidance and treatment advice in over 100 languages. When poison happens, we're here for you. Just call Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Oh, that's why I got that big. Okay, I see. All right, welcome back to the show. So we're going to continue our conversation with our number 2 pick of 2023. We're getting closer to that illustrious number 1 pick, but stay right there.
Gotta hold.
I know, gotta hold. All right, so here we go. Number 2.
Yes.
So who you want to start?
You go.
Want me to go? All right. So my number 2 of the year, I'm not going to keep people waiting. It is Godzilla -1. Love this movie, man. Again, I saw this. It was an early screening, not that early, a couple of days. Got to see it at the Majestic in IMAX. I feel like IMAX is the best way to watch this movie.
You want a big crowd for it. A big screen and a big crowd.
And this, it was a big crowd for this movie, and I was just stunned by this movie when I saw it. And first of all, I loved everything with Godzilla in the movie. But the thing that really took me back was really the human story. And we talk about this a lot in movies where it's like, oh yeah, we don't care about the human characters. We don't care about the human element. We just want to see, monsters fighting. We just want to see Godzilla.
The human element has always been essential to a Godzilla story.
Exactly.
No matter what era you're in, whether it's the Showa era or beyond, right?
Yes.
Like you're always going to have more sequences with the people than the beasts.
Yeah, exactly. And then this story that tells a story of a kamikaze pilot that is having a survivors guild and PTSD for not really completing his mission, and that is kind of messing with him throughout the course of this movie. And then he kind of has this found family that kind of gives him more of a reason to want to live, and how that story parallels the story that's being told when Godzilla comes, and how those stories intertwine.
Yeah, and there's also the story of the anti-authoritarian bent. It's the people have to rise up and take care of Godzilla. The government's not going to help them. The government's put them in this position, and they can't trust it, so they got to do it themselves. I liked that angle to this story a lot.
I love seeing all of that. And then we have to talk about the special effects of the movie.
Godzilla.
I mean, this is. And I'm not the person to talk to as far as the history of Godzilla and all the movies, but I gotta say, when he shows up, he feels like the meanest, angriest version of Godzilla that I've seen.
Yeah, and the way that they use the atomic breath in this sequence, you compare it to the previous American movies that we've gotten recently, which I enjoy. And you compare it even to Shin Godzilla, which had a great atomic breath sequence. I like this one a lot, and I like the way that it rides up his spine and he locks and loads and lets it go.
And it's a shocking moment. I mean, you're looking, it's coming, but then when it happens and you see the devastation and destruction that it causes, I'm like, whoa, you're taken aback by it.
Expertly directed, expertly edited, and then the special effects crew on this were above and beyond.
Yeah, so enough about that. So before we get out, let's talk about your number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is kind of like your number 3. This is the one where we don't necessarily see eye to eye on.
Slightly.
I think that Wes Anderson had one of the best years of his career in 2023.
Okay.
Not only with the movie I'm about to mention, but also the various Netflix short films that he put out.
Yes.
Got an Oscar nomination for one recently.
He did.
But yeah, my number 2
Yeah.
is Wes Anderson's Asteroid City.
Okay.
And why I responded so well to this film was the various layers of storytelling that are occurring. Anderson's always embraced the artificial, and he finds ways to, make his style emotionally true, even if they feel like little cardboard doll houses of films. But the way that this film starts off as this Twilight Zone production of a play, and then we're living the play, and then you have an actor who is performing a character who is going through grief, and the actor doesn't quite understand why a character does a certain thing, and so you're watching the character and the actor trying to understand the character, and then we're the audience trying to understand them. I just loved all the layering going on.
I know when we reviewed the movie over the summer, and you mentioned that point, because when I saw the movie in the theater, I kind of missed some of those aspects because of some distractions that happened in my first viewing of it, and then I was able to rewatch it going with those points that you made in mind, and I do appreciate those layers that you're talking about with Wes Anderson. His films I have a hard time connecting with his characters
fair enough.
and the characterization, but I do appreciate his filmmaking and his filmmaking aesthetic. But going to your point, I think that is a fascinating way to tell the story, and the way that we as an audience connect with those different layers with the character and the actor and the character that they're playing.
As like a fan of performance, to watch somebody like Jason Schwartzman have to juggle all these people in his one little body is a lot of fun.
That it's a fascinating movie, and it's a movie that I definitely will probably go back to kind of rewatch, because I like Wes Anderson. I like some of his filmography, and I appreciate him as a filmmaker. So he's always going to be a filmmaker that I'm always going to come back to.
I enjoy pretty much every single Wes Anderson movie. It's just a matter of like how much do I love it compared to the other ones. And to me, this is probably not in the top 5 Anderson films, but it's at the top of that middle portion.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, that's good. What's your favorite Wes Anderson?
My favorite Wes Anderson is, now you're putting me on the spot, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, probably.
Okay, now Budapest?
I love Grand Budapest Hotel. I love it.
Okay.
That's probably my number 2.
Oh, interesting.
Today, anyway.
Today. It could change. It can always change, So those are our number 2 picks. So here we go. When we come back from the break, we are going to talk about our favorite movies of 2023. Not our favorite, the best movies.
Oh, the best.
There we go. The best. I'm saying it. There we go.
Okay. I'm saying favorite.
When I got the opportunity to get her, there wasn't no choice. I told myself, I'm gonna take custody of my daughter. It's my baby. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Take care of our home, build a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Love, our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Ain't nothing like being a father in this world.
In America, millions of families are facing hunger. After rent and power, I can get groceries. It's sad to say food comes last. Anna from Texas. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I'm not even going to try. All right, we are back. So now is the time, our favorite movies of 2023. So, Brad.
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
All right. So,
what? Who's going first?
Rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
I go first. All right. A movie you've already mentioned, a movie that I adored, directed by Celine Song. It's her debut feature, which is insane to think about.
Yeah.
But Past Lives.
Okay.
Starring Greta Lee. You know, the story of this childhood romance. And how she has to leave it behind in Korea, and then she restarts it through not even Zoom. Like, what is Skype? What was Skype?
Yeah, I know, right?
And then you have this whole section of this movie that's told exclusively through Skype, and it's riveting.
It is.
And then you
So
have
much
this
so.
invader character, you know, the
Arthur.
husband, Arthur. When Arthur first shows up, you're like, Arthur, get out of this story. I don't want it. But then you fall in love with Arthur and her, and then they all come together in this bar at the climax of the movie. And the way that film is, or the way that scene is written, edited, shot, and directed, it's the best scene of the whole year. I know that staircase scene from John Wick Chapter 4 was pretty darn cool.
I know, right?
But this is the scene of the year.
Yeah, I echo everything that you said about Past Lives. Again, it was number 4 on my list, but I mean, when we get to the top 4, it's just by margins that I love all of these movies. And to see her directorial debut and how seemed like she directed this movie with such confidence in the way she was able to tell the story visually and through the characters.
Yeah, it just does not feel like a directorial debut. It really does not.
It really doesn't. And the maturity that it's written with these 3 characters.
And
because
the empathy.
The empathy as well, exactly. And it's easy for us as an audience to really, like you say, try to vilify Arthur when he comes into the movie halfway through, but they establish that relationship so well.
There are no enemies in this film. There are no villains. There are no antagonists. There's just people.
Yeah. It's
amazing.
It's really good. It's really good. So
much better choice than your number 1.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay. Well, my number 1. This has just been the best movie I've seen all year. It's Across the Spider-Verse. When we talked about it, it was your number 3. I absolutely love this movie. I mean, the artistry and the love and the detail that was taken with the animation, the way we expand the universe and we go and see all of these different animation styles when we go into the different universes. And I said this about Into the Spider-Verse with Across the Spider-Verse, how you can expand this world so much more, but you stay focused on Miles' story. And you give the secondary and the tertiary characters so much more to do.
Yeah, and they have stories. Everyone's on an arc, right?
Yeah.
You know, you look at Spider-Gwen, voiced beautifully by Haley Steinfeld.
Exactly.
And the relationship that she's dealing with her dad. Like, that is a B plot, but it doesn't feel like a B plot when it's happening.
Exactly. And even with Miles' parents and the story that's being told with them, yeah, they're in the movie probably more so in the first act, and then we kind of leave when he starts to like traverse the multiverse. But his parents are a pivotal part, especially going into the 3rd movie. They're a pivotal part, and even like that one sequence that Miles has with his mother on the rooftop is such a poignant scene between the 2 of them. And then we get to the villain, the Spot, and then we get into his story, his backstory, his motivation, and what he's trying to do, and how he starts off as like this low-level villain, but then you see how much of a threat he really is.
It's kind of Miles' Uncle Ben moment, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Miles has no care for this character when he shows up. He's just another goon to bother him, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to take care of him, no problem.
Yeah.
And he doesn't recognize his own culpability in creating the spot. And so you have that reflection to our Peter Parker and, you know, the burglar and the Uncle Ben moment.
Yeah, and then I have to bring up all the new Spider people we got to see. I mean, we talk about Hobie Brown, who damn near steals the movie as Spider-Punk, and then Spider-Man India. Like all of these characters that come in, and you know they
become the stars.
They become the star, but they also are there. They never steal because they're there to support Miles' story. And I don't know, this movie just hits on every single element for me. And then, of course, the score. You know me. I love Daniel Pemberton.
How did he not get an Oscar nomination?
Dude, people talk about snubs. That's the biggest snub for me. I mean, we talk about score. I don't think...
Like, I love American Fiction.
I love that movie, too.
I do not remember that score. And I don't want to throw shade on American Fiction score at all. But, like, Daniel Pemberton... Did you see that concert that he did in L.A.
Oh my God,
when he shredded that guitar?
Dude, oh man, I don't know. And nothing more could be said about that. So yeah.
It was a strong year, 2023.
It was. It really was.
It had its ups and downs. It was bumpy.
Yeah.
But a strong movie year.
What are some of your, before we get out of here, what are some of your honorable mentions that just didn't make the list?
Oh, you know,
any that you have?
Like Godzilla -1 would probably, you know, it was very close at one point. American Fiction was very close at one point. And I feel kind of bad about not having it on there because I had such a good time with that movie.
Yeah.
A movie that I don't hear people talking about is the Kane Mutiny Court Martial, which was a Showtime movie. It was William Friedkin's last film.
You talked highly about that.
And I loved the last 10 minutes of that movie.
I'm gonna have to get that a watch. I do have Showtime through Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
And I may have to get that a watch.
They've got some issues. It's got some issues, but that last scene.
Yeah, some of my honorable mentions I'll mention real quickly. Dungeons and Dragons. I thought that was a lot of fun with that.
Loved watching that with you.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Rye Lane is.
Yeah,
I loved Rye Lane.
Yep.
Gran Turismo. We have the poster back there.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with Gran Turismo.
I'm happy for you.
But yeah, I can't think. I don't have my list with me. But yeah, those are just some of my honorable mentions. But yeah, it was a really strong year for movies. So yeah, so those are our thoughts on our favorite movies of the year.
I thought it was the best movies, Bryan.
Favorite, the best movies. Yeah, we'll go back to favorites. No, I'm gonna stand on that.
Oh.
Best movies of the year. So so thank you for joining us on this latest episode of B&B Movie Reviews. Come be a part of the conversation. Let us know what your favorite movies of the year are. So yeah, feel free to leave your suggestions and email us at bnbmoviereviews@gmail.com. And with that, we will see you at the movies.